Well, don't give it to Trigby.
We got plenty, right? I thought we need 50, and you can say we're not going to have 50. I said if we make 50, and she said I'm going to make you 60s. Whether we should get started or not.
Yeah, I would start. People will keep coming in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you won't have enough time.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to all of you to our presentation today, sponsored by Homes for God's Children. We're very thankful for your generous support that you continue to give to our work among you, your work among us in this community. We're going to do three things today. We're celebrating our present focus, which is on Ruth's house and Sarah's house, and we're happy to have Suzanne Fox with us. And then we're going to have an update from Dana about Habitat Humanity's work, which is ongoing and among us, and was our 23 emphasis. And finally, we're going to introduce you to our 2025 emphasis, which I'm becoming more and more excited about as we look forward to it, and we want to introduce you and welcome you to the New Year's emphasis. And so I'm going to stop talking and hand this back over to Suzanne, who is going to share with us about Ruth's House. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Jean. Thanks for having me back. Ruth's House mission is empowering lives, offering hope through transitional shelter and support. Ruth's House was opened in 2004 in Faribault with the mission of providing help and hope for women and children in crisis. We house up to 9 families, and we have a continuous wait list. We provide safe shelter, basic needs, supportive services, programming, referrals, and advocacy for our residents that we serve. The programs at Ruth's House are flexible and individually tailored to meet each resident's unique needs. Thank you, Dana. Programming includes strength-based case management with self-identified long and short-term goals. 24-hour support, children's programming, financial education, parenting support, family-friendly group activities, and connections with community resources. By providing a safe and supportive environment and coordinating with Child Protective Services, Ruth's House successfully assisted 8 mothers in regaining custody of their children last year. The women and children at Ruth's House are inspiring. When they have a safe place to land, we witness them come into their own. It's not easy to live in shelter, and we see their daily struggles, such as waiting on housing, parenting young children, transportation woes, and learning how to live with others who are also going through trials. We see them uplifting each other through their darkest days and witness the hope they have, many for the first time or for a long time. I want to share a note a former resident sent to us. I'm doing well, immersed in this amazing new chapter and overcome with gratitude, calmness, and huge smiles. I made it. It's like standing outside the end of a very long, dark tunnel. I laugh sometimes at good golly the ups and downs you all survived with me. A big thank you for being the only family that didn't give up on me and my messy. Ruth's House kept me safe and was a home when I didn't have one. Signed with gratitude and love to all. Ruth's House serves on the Southern Minnesota Continuum of Care, a network of homeless service providers that provide support, planning, coordination, and resources for members, ensuring individuals and families experiencing homelessness are well connected to the regional resources available to them. Ruth's House is also a member of Violence Free Minnesota and a member of the Rice County Homeless Prevention Team. Ruth's House partners with local organizations such as the Hope Center, the CAC, and Three Rivers Community Action to meet the individuals' needs of the families that we serve. Sarah's House was opened at the end of 2020 in Northfield and provides a safe, sober living space designed to help women transition from inpatient treatment to independent, healthy living. Up to 5 women can stay at Sarah's House at a time. Last year, we provided sober living to 16 women. Sarah's House provides a structured step-down approach after inpatient treatment. Sarah's House partners with treatment centers, CPS, Treatment Corp, outpatient services, and other local providers. Sarah's House offers case management support for the residents, helping them to achieve their goals. At Sarah's House, we have experienced some of our residents who have stayed longer term, which helps them to obtain stable employment, benefits, and later long-term stable housing. The residents are eager to start their new lives with jobs, volunteering, and outpatient treatment. 5 residents got their driver's license back last year while staying at Sarah's House. After a successful stay at Sarah's House, 2 women have reunited with their children later at Ruth's House. Families leaving Sarah's House and Ruth's House for stable housing will have the opportunities a fresh start will bring. Ruth's House has given the residents the life-enriching resources they need to continue with mental and physical health providers after the transition into healthy lives. We have volunteer opportunities both at Ruth's House and Sarah's House. Volunteers from Bethel assisted us with several projects at Sarah's House, including removing old patio furniture, power washing the deck, and setting up new furniture that Ruth's House was able to purchase through a grant. They also helped with landscaping and installed new medication boxes in our residents' rooms. A partnership between Bethel Lutheran and Ruth's House will help families secure stable housing and health equity in our Rice County community. Support from Bethel Lutheran and Homes for God's Children will help to pay utility expenses, which average around $27 a day, and rent for Sarah's House, which is $1,100 a month. With a goal of $20,000 for 2024, which also happens to be Ruth's House 20th anniversary, would help us meet our operating expense budget. This financial flexibility not only allows for strategic growth, but also fosters organizational resilience, enabling us to navigate unforeseen challenges. Ruth's House will be better positioned to fulfill its mission while making a lasting positive difference in the lives that we serve. We're grateful for the continued support and partnership we have received from Bethel Lutheran for almost 15 years. Thank you for all the work that you do through Homes for God's Children and to provide hope for all of those in Rice County. Thank you for helping us to achieve our vision, a community where everyone has a safe place to call home.
Thank you, Suzanne, for bringing us up to date. And I do want to draw your attention to the handout I hope you received. You'll see there that so far we have just a little over $14,000. But the good news is we have the Thanksgiving offering has been designated, and that's an opportunity, and we're really hoping that we will get to that $20,000 for 20 years. And of course, you can continue to support Ruth's House throughout the rest of this year and on into the future. The needs never go away. So thank you very much. We do want to celebrate. Let's give a hand to ourselves for our support of Ruth's House during this year. And now I want to hand it over to our own Dana, who's going to bring us up to date with Habitat.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dana Norvold. I'm with Habitat for Humanity. I've been with Habitat for 17 years, which seems crazy to me, but that's what it is. Dana Norvold. Yeah, okay, good. And I'm also part of Homes for God's Children, and so it's really, I'm really grateful to be a part of a congregation that makes this a priority of looking beyond ourselves and giving beyond our walls. And I'm grateful that Habitat's one of them. But I also need to express the importance of the other nonprofits, CAC and Ruth's House. We need to think about housing on a continuum. And I think about that continuum from emergency housing and supportive housing and transitional housing, which is what those two organizations provide. But then we've got to have that next step for people to go to, and that is stable and affordable home ownership. And that is really what Habitat for Humanity provides. We often get calls, oh my gosh, I'm being evicted at the end of this month, I need somewhere to go next month. We're not that answer. We refer people over there. We really are trying to meet people once they've gotten some stability in their lives. They've got to have some regular stream of income, and they've got to have some of their debt under control. The good news is we'll help them do that. We'll help anybody do that. We spend a lot of our time doing financial literacy with people. And let me tell you, it's not just low-income people that need financial literacy, right? You maybe can name an adult that you might know that needs some help in financial choices they make. The trouble, though, is for people who are low income, any bad choice or bad event can really spiral them off into really negative impacts in their life financially. So I'm grateful to be a partner in this work with the other great nonprofits that are here. So I just want to give you a little update about Habitat. We did finish the quad. That was our second quad that we did. Many of you were out on that build site in Northfield, and so that is happily done. Not all occupied, though, and I'll tell you that in the challenges part. But we did finish that quad, which was very exciting. We now are doing 6 single-family homes in Faribault. That's a big deal. 6 is the most that we've attempted in a year. We finally got the infrastructure done. This is a partnership that Habitat for Humanity has with Rice County and with Three Rivers. So Rice County provided the land. The land is just north of the new safety center in Faribault. It's on the northeast part of town, just east of that new roundabout that's there. That's the new safety center is there. North of that is where the county, Rice County, made a real dedicated decision to put affordable housing. It's all new. Yep, there's a road in there and everything. Yep, and so we're glad that that road is there. That's super helpful, and we're glad we didn't have to pay for that road. So the county paid for all of that through ARPA dollars, American Rescue Plan dollars. That's where that money came from to buy the land for that new safety center and this land. And our commissioners made a bold choice to say, we want this for affordable home ownership, which is great. And so we put in a bid to be the builder, and we were chosen. And so now we're starting 6 single-family homes, all of which will be pretty big. They're all going to be at least 5-bedroom homes with the real intention of serving larger families in Faribault. There's a lot of larger families in Faribault that struggle finding rentals or other housing that meet their needs for their family. And we have seen families where they literally have to rent 2 apartments so that they can meet fire codes of the number of people in their apartment. So we are well on our way to partnering with those families there. So those 6 houses in Faribault, that's your volunteer opportunity over the winter. If you want to be a part of building those, we'll love to talk with you about that. The other thing that we're gearing up for is, of course, the next build season, which will be next summer. And we're hoping to come back to Northfield with a unique project partnering with the city of Northfield. And that is a piece of land, 307 Sumner, which is not too far from St. Peter's or Spring Creek School. So 307 Sumner, there was an old farmhouse that had been there. If you drive past there, you maybe noticed that it was in pretty tough shape and that needed to be torn down. So that was torn down. The city paid for that. Glad we didn't have to pay for that. And so we are hoping to turn that lot that had 1 house into a lot that's going to have 4 houses on it. It's a bit larger of a lot, and so we've got right now a preliminary plan to do 2 duplexes on there. So that's kind of exciting. And then the other thing that we're looking at doing is exploring modular. So some of you have probably heard about modular. It's where it's built somewhere else and then brought in, oftentimes in 2 pieces. It's a little bit of I sometimes describe things like this as it's a shiny ball that people are chasing after right now, and people are very excited about it. Seemingly, it's cheaper. It's not always cheaper to do modular. You still have to buy the land, you still have to put it on something, and you still have to hook it up to city services. And so we're doing the right exploratory research to find out, is that really going to save money? If it doesn't save money, we may still consider it because it's going to save another valuable thing, and that's time. We do rely on volunteers and our local contractors to build, but there's a finite capacity of that, right? And so if we can introduce more homeownership opportunities in a different way, kind of outside the box of Habitat, we need to do that because people are in desperate need of housing. So those are kind of the updates and things that we've got going on. I'll talk to you a little bit about the challenges. The challenges are big. As I said, I've been here 17 years, and this last year has probably been my most challenging chapter. And for a couple different reasons, I'll share one. We have relied on USDA, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, has a program called Rural Development, and it is a mortgage loan product for people who are at 80% or below of area median income. How many of you know what that means? You guys do. Some of you know what that means. Most people don't know what that means. 80% of area median income is often kind of the ceiling of qualifying for low-income programs. Every county has a median income where half the people in the county make more than that amount, half the people make less. In Rice County, our area median income is about $100,000. So I like it when it's that because the math is pretty easy. So 80% of that is $80,000. And so households can't make more than $80,000 generally to qualify for USDA. And that fits great because that's our target market as well. The great thing about USDA is their mortgage product has a lower interest rate than market, which has been super helpful because, as you know, when the market had interest rates 7, 8, 9%, USDA was holding tight at about 5%, give or take. So already right there, that's a better deal, right? The other thing that USDA has that is a great advantage to people is they can subsidize that interest rate from 5% down to 1%. So you could be paying on a mortgage that has just 1%. Now, that subsidy, the difference between the 5% and the 1%, the government wants to get paid back, and so the person will have to pay that back when they sell the house in the future, which is okay, because what I tell people is it's kind of like reverse layaway, and people who are younger look at me and say, what is layaway? They have no idea. This crowd, I think, knows what layaway is, where you get, and I call it reverse layaway, you get the thing now, and you're going to pay later. And so it still gets them into home ownership now. They get the benefits of the stability of home ownership. They get the benefits of equity and appreciation, and they will have to pay a chunk. If they have that subsidy, they'll have to pay that later. So that's a great program, right? Isn't USDA great? They ran out of money. So that really halted us finding families. And so about the time that we were doing the quad and getting families for the quad, USDA ran out of money. And so that we pivoted, we tried to have people get qualified through a traditional lender with traditional interest rates. Guess what? They couldn't they couldn't qualify for enough. We need to at least have people get enough in that first mortgage to cover the cost of construction. So we've really been waiting now for USDA to get some more money. And so they have kind of repositioned things within USDA, that program. So some money has come, which has meant some of the people that we've had in the pipeline on the wait list are coming off that wait list. And so we're working to get them now qualified. So when we come asking for assistance or asking for letters to our federally elected people, this is why it matters, that federal program, when that ran out of money, it really halted the ability for people to get affordable home ownership right here locally. And so that's been a challenge. The other challenge, of course, is construction costs. They're still too high. We've got really great partners in our community, but even that, they've still got to get paid something. And so construction costs remain high, so that's challenging. I'll talk, although the last thing is opportunities for you all to participate. One really exciting opportunity is, and it's going to sound super boring, but just work with me because it's really exciting. It's the State Housing Tax Credit Program. And so I've got some handouts here if you're interested. And if you're on our mailing list, I only have like 15, so not everybody will get one, but Inger will decide. The state housing tax credit, this is if you have a Minnesota tax liability at the end of the year. So at the end of the year, if you owe the state of Minnesota money through your taxes, you can get an 85% tax credit. This is different than a tax deduction. This is different than deductions that we used to get before they made that limit higher. This is a credit. So the example I give is if you owe the state $10,000 at the end of the year, instead you could give $10,000 to one of the projects that Rice County Habitat has. You could give $10,000 through this program, and then you would get $8,500 knocked off of that tax liability that you owe to the state, right? So then that other $1,500 you could potentially use as a tax deduction on your federal taxes if you itemize. So it's an incredible tool that our state legislature passed in 2023, very late in 23, the program got rolled out, and it sunsets in 2028. So from now through 2028, as you're talking to your tax people, or if you do your taxes, if you've got a liability for the state, please consider this tax contribution program. So far, we have people in the community have contributed about $34,000 toward their Sumner Street project. This will go directly to helping bring down the cost of mortgages to families. So it's an incredible way that the state is helping you participate in supporting a local organization. So that part is great. If you want more information, we can talk about it afterwards. I want to just draw your attention then to the handout. What I provided for you on this handout is how Bethel has contributed over time to the efforts of Habitat, both at a volunteer level and with donations. And so I did hours, volunteer hours, our total volunteer hours from the beginning of 23 until the present. We had 10,144 total volunteer hours. Of that, Bethel volunteers contributed 11%, which I think is pretty fantastic. We've got a lot of churches in Rice County. We've got a lot of businesses that have come out. We've got a lot of individuals, and you all did 11% of those volunteer hours. And I took out Larry Nari's numbers because, as you know, Larry Nari works for Habitat, but he's not paid what he works. He's thinking about Habitat 24/7. So I took his numbers out. So that is fantastic. And then donations over time, you can see that Bethel has provided 6% of what our donations have been, which again, I think is really great. So we thank you for that, for those two ways that you guys help. And then the last thing I'll just talk about for a minute is Starfish. That's kind of the newest project that we have. Starfish is where we buy or acquire a house that needs to be rehabbed. There's sometimes a fine line between a house that needs to be demolished and a house that can be rehabbed. And so we go to that rehab part and then make the necessary changes for health and safety purposes to yet get another family in there. We completed our second Starfish. Many people from here volunteered on that project. We're looking for our third Starfish house that's here in Northfield. We've got our Ion one that the city owns, and we'll be requesting that they help us out a lot in acquiring that new house. So we're excited for that. So thanks everybody for all that you do, and I'm looking forward to hearing from Community Action Center.
Thank you, Dana. And once again, ongoing support of Habitat is welcome into the next year. I want to share just 1 minute. The Homes for God's Children earlier this year in August and September were struggling with what we were going to do for this coming year. We had a big dream at one point, and that was that we wanted to help people in Ukraine. We realized that was an impossibility. And so we were thinking, what can we do? And along came Scott Wapata, who communicated with Dave Dietert and said, you know, we've got this program of emergency housing, and we think maybe Bethel could benefit by helping us. And so that's how we got to this. And I am really excited to hear some more about it. It is our 2025 emphasis on emergency housing, so I'm going to turn it over to Shelby.
All right, thank you so much. I'm Shelby Nauman. I'm with the Community Action Center, and I'm really, really happy to be here today to talk to you all. At the Community Action Center, our mission is to promote a healthy, caring, and just community for all people through information, resources, and volunteer efforts. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. I've been at the Community Action Center now for 2 months, but that has been enough time to absolutely fall in love with our core values. So I wanted to share some of those with you all today. The first one being harm reduction. That's one of our newer core values, and it's how we look at everything we do in our business. It's enabling meeting people where they are to make healthier and smarter choices that gives them the autonomy to move forward and grow. The abundance mindset, that one is the idea that there is enough for everyone. We don't believe in a scarcity mindset. We truly believe that if everybody works together, there is enough for everyone. Person-centered, that's where we focus on our participants holistically. We don't just look at their immediate problem and just see the problem. We like to look at everybody for everything that they are. And that goes into the strength-based. That's one of our core values, where we focus on enabling people through their strengths, not just their weakest moments, but we like to see what strengths do you have and how can we build on that and help you grow. Equity and justice, that is the idea that not everything needs to be equal to have equity. The idea of equity is that not everybody gets the same things, but everybody gets the things that helps them live a happier and more prosperous life. And then finally, culture of humility. That's where we're always growing. We're always learning. We're always looking to see what other cultures bring to the table. And then solidarity over charity. So that's where our idea is not an us versus them mindset, where that's where we see charity as, we are giving to those beneath us. We like to see it as solidarity as we walk shoulder to shoulder with everyone we work with. Everybody's on the same playing field, and we truly walk through their journey with them. So I just wanted to share about those core values. All right, and then what I wanted to talk to you about, adopting emergency shelter units. So the CAC has 4 emergency shelters here in Northfield. Those shelters provide 1,500 nights of shelter every year for Northfield families. You can see in the picture that is the Hillcrest Shelter Unit. So what the shelters do, they provide stability and a place for dignity, privacy, safety during challenging times. So we have homeless participants that come and they're just trying to find any kind of stability. So what these shelters do is it gives them a home. It's a kitchen, a beautiful living room, a place where they can just make home for the temporary time until we work for stability. And in Northfield, our units are always full. In fact, there is a pretty lengthy waiting list for our shelters. We're supporting often families and then individuals who are facing homelessness. The resource that we're lacking is time. So we have participants in our shelters usually about 90 days. And when they do exit, usually moving on to long-term housing, more stabilized housing, it takes a while to turn those shelters over. So when one person leaves, sometimes those units will sit empty for about a week and a half, where we have to accumulate furnishings or toiletries in order to fill it back up, make it home for the next person who's on the shelter waiting list to come in. And we would like to see that time reduce so that we could get those families in to the shelters faster. So that's where it comes into what does an adopt a unit mean? That would mean providing furnishings, which when I say furnishings, I don't mean couches and tables. That will happen every once in a while, but for the most part, those are pretty stable in the shelter units. What it really means is those home goods, those linens, bed sheets, silverware, dishes, pots and pans, anything that you would want to come into like a fully stocked home to be able to live and start a new life. And it also means facilitating a welcoming home-like environment. So making the beds, folding the tables up, setting out toothbrushes, toothpaste for the new participants to use. And it's also a chance to actively contribute to a would be the volunteer responsibilities. This would be furnishing the unit. Like I said, that mostly is accumulating silverware, toothbrushes, shampoo, anything that a person might need, and restocking those units. So it won't often be furniture. We also like to make people aware we do allow our participants to take from the shelters whatever they need. So if they're moving into long-term housing, we allow them to take the silverware, take pots and pans, take the linens, take whatever they need in order to start over in a more stable housing. So oftentimes when we do go into the shelters to turn them over, they may be bare. That's a good thing. That means that somebody is starting over with the stuff they need and it's transitioning into a long-term housing. In the hospitality efforts, that just means, like I said, create a warm, home-like environment. We really want our participants to come in and just feel like they can breathe for a little bit. Often these people have gone through very challenging times. Most of them are coming from being totally on the streets and having absolutely no home, or they have been couch hopping. And so when they come into a welcoming environment, especially for our school-age children, it allows them to breathe a little bit. And we do see that the school-age children start to do better in school because they do have that stability. And then with our participants, we do focus on a weekly case management effort. So as long as they're in the shelter, they are accessed by one of our case managers who then works with them on things like financial literacy, getting into affordable housing, daycare assistance, school enrollment, all kinds of things, really just looking at a person holistically so that when they move out in 90 days, they're in a better spot than they were beforehand. All right, the impact. I've talked a little bit more about this. It can absolutely change somebody's life. I want to focus on a positive shelter experience. We know can really increase trust. It can increase a person's trust. There are people who are out there that do care, and it certainly increases that hope of knowing that we can do that. We can all get through the hard times in life. All right, and this is what it would look like. I highlighted this one in orange because this is what we would be asking volunteers to do. But CAC, when we get the notification that somebody's ready to move on from our shelter, we send an email out to all relevant contacts, just letting them know that we have the move-in date. So those dates are tentative. They're pretty flexible, just like all people are. It depends on when we can move everything out. It depends on when everything to their new housing is ready to go. But we are able to provide that tentative date. Then we are able to help the families move out. We go in, we bag up any leftover items. Anything that remains, we store, we dispose of, but we make sure that it's all cleaned out within 7 days. Then we do have a team that comes in and cleans. We're actually really fortunate to employ some of our participants to come in and clean, and that's part of their job. So they come, they clean, and then that's where we ask the volunteers to come in and just do the setup and bring sheets, make beds, put in towels, toothpaste, whatever they need, just really making that shelter move-in ready. And then finally the new family moves in and the final touches are made and they're in the house or in the shelter units until the next family is ready to come on in. And how are we asking your group to help? Is committing to adopting one or multiple of the units. So we do have 4. Asking to stockpile and store items for furnishing. Like I said, it won't be couches or end tables or anything like that. It would just be those linens, those towels that are really hard for us to go stockpile in the immediate future when we have somebody coming in. Organize a team, just knowing that we do turn over these shelters approximately every 90 days. And then just make a difference in impacting people's lives. And then finally, I just wanted to, while I have the floor, give some Hillcrest updates. The solar is ready to go and installed at Hillcrest. And we are fortunate enough to work with the city of Faribault to create 6 units. We're calling it like a mini Hillcrest right now in Faribault that will have 2 emergency shelter units as well. And that's what I have for today. If there are any questions, please let me know. But I really thank everybody for listening.
Thank you, Shelby, and thank you, Suzanne, and thank you, Dana. I think if anyone does have any questions, we can ask them any of the three. Does anyone have anything or comments they'd like to? Yes.
That's a perfect question. Yeah. So that's actually a really great question. That's part of why we're asking for help. We do have storage in two of our shelter units. There is a closet, and then there is a basement. But that is the limitation of where like as far as our storage goes. So for anything in bulk, we don't have a space for bulk storage, but we do have that closet at both um, of our shelters that are at Maryland's Place at 517. That would be wonderful. Yes, that would be wonderful. That'd be a great way to work together.
So that would include used items, obviously. Could you say a little bit more about the quality
Sure.
of the items you need?
Yeah, the linens and towels, they can certainly be used. Any toiletries, of course, would be nice to be new and accumulate those. But as far as like silverware, coffee makers, pots and pans, we're comfortable with that being used as long as it works. Would not have to be brand new.
I'll try. um, yes, we have adopted one unit at this time, and I think what we are looking for is we need volunteers who are willing to put in the hours of working to help clean and restock. So that's one opportunity. We see this as a wonderful opportunity for people to be able to reach out beyond ourselves to provide those people. So we're going to need manpower to do this in terms of people. But we also, just what you've said to us in the comments, we're just kind of learning this along the way too. Obviously, if people have things to donate that can be used in this resupply, that's wonderful. So we can, maybe it's even just I go to the dentist and they give me a toothbrush that I don't need. So I got a drawer full of toothbrushes, but maybe all of us have drawers full of things that we could say, oh, that would work. And so that's one thing. Yeah, Dave, I rest you help me here.
Yeah, that's exactly the plan. This is a new program. Scott reached out because we had just been talking about it. So we're all piloting it together. But as soon as we are able to get into the shelter and see what's like the commonality of the items, yeah, we'll post that and we'll get it to you. And like I mentioned before, we do just encourage that the participants take the any of the stuff that they need, pots and pans. The assumption going forward that will all have to be replaced. Oh, sure.